Help us level the playing field. Sign the parliamentary petition today to fuel the growth and fund the game.
Test, test, test. Hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello.
First game. Oh, time to come. Yeah, we're giving the game and I'm like, isn't it? There are many analysts in terms of like people who can actually read the game.
Generally, when it comes over to this sort of overall analysis of how it's going, and then you got kind of I reckon you guys are going to be probably better off.
Avendel's just been watching. Wow. 1-0.
Who scored for Aberdeen?
Six on the outside.
Yeah, you should probably keep one from 45 out.
That doesn't make that matter.
See the group of girls just beside the bench there?
Yeah.
With the marshal? Then their group of my 15 players.
I see 15. Yeah. Not 14.
15.
Still undefeated or powerhouse?
And we're mid-table, but
That's pretty good though. Isn't it? They like.
they were 16.
Yeah. So.
Had 5 points for the year.
They had 5 points for the whole year.
Yeah.
And you got one now.
I've got 16.
Oh, actually, I find like
So my mate and I were joking the other day. He goes, him and I were joking that he goes, when he bought me the club, I felt the same in pre-season. Don't you regret reading media? Because like you wouldn't give him a shit about things. And then he goes, and he turns to someone and goes, yeah, and then he goes, and then this prick went and won like 6 games, so I can't turn around and go, nah, get out.
Gave you the worst team in your top well. Literally gave you the worst team. So they playing like a basketball. Because they've got Kate Shilton and Shadar playing centre back and one top left back.
Nah, so it would have been Estelle right back, Shina and Anna instead of Jason's the left back. Then your midfield 3 will be
Dak,
Nev, Freya, and then it'll be a front 3 of Sav and Nace and Summer. Whereas they'll play.
We're at number 10, and she's got 3 goals.
Oh, no. It's hot, by the way. Can we turn it off?
We should get going soon.
Pretty much when they start walking out.
That's when you start live?
Well, it's live right now, so we'll be pretty much live as soon as we want to be. First game, dude? Yeah.
You'll be alright.
Because I coach the 15 at Alamein, and there's no complications there at all.
Nah, that's alright. I had Green Gully's assistant coach for one of the games I did, so.
Our TD is leading off against the fence near the mayor. Has literally just.
12. Massive.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the NPL Victoria YouTube channel. It's Alamein taking on Spring Hills here at Dorothy Laver West Reserve. It's round 11 here. It's, of course, Alamein home. Both sides lost 4 of the last 5 against quite good opponents. They sit pretty close to each other in the league table as well, so all of the points up for grabs today. And we just did see earlier today as well, Avondale did beat Box Hill 1-0, so it's all open at the top of the table. I'm Ross Papadakis. Today I'm joined by Cade Wright. Cade, what can we expect for today?
Yeah, thanks, Ross. From today, it should be a reasonably cagey game. I think both sides being kind of the physical teams that they can be, it should be a very good one. Both teams trying to get that win, like you said, for their first in 4 or 5 games. And so, yeah, from the go, it should be on. And, yeah, we should be looking forward to a good one.
Yes, we'll go through the lineups for you as well. For the home side, in between the sticks, is number 74, Kate Bean, followed by number 2, Estelle Burgess, number 3, Chinatsu Shidara, number 4, Anna Leokopoulos, number 5, Jessica Shilton, number 6, Dakota Theisen, number 7, Savannah Anastasopoulos, number 8, Nev Dustin, number 9, Summer Lasky, number 17, Anais Josevsky, and number 19, Priya Archdeacon. And for Spring Hills, it's number 1, Jenna Ibrahim, number 6, Rosen Murphy, number 7, Daniela Tobin, number 9, Lauren Antonello, number 10, Suzu Murakami, number 12, Natasha Dakic, number 17, Bianca Liberto, number 18, Alex Sinclair, number 23, Aubrey Labno, and number 26, Isabella Arredondo. Of course, last week, Alamein did lose to Burundara Eagles 2-1 away from home. It was Zoe Houghton who scored that day. Last time these two played each other, it was a 1-0 win to Alamein at Springside Recreation Reserve. It was Jess Shilton with that goal there. And they've only played each other 3 times in total. The other time was a 0-0 draw here in round 11 of 2025, and then a 4-0 win back in 2021 for Alamein against Spring Hills. Of course, Spring Hills' second season back in the top flight. They did finish kind of in contention for finals, not quite, but also at the same time, yes. Alamein as well, chasing their first finals berth since 2021. Of course, they narrowly missed out by 3 points last year. And they will be kicking to the left of the screen. Alamein in their blue, and Spring Hills in their pink kicking to the right. Pretty similar squad for that of Alamein as well as of last year. Of course, just 3 or 4 changes to fill those areas that they needed filled. Of course, most notably Paige Clemenson, who made the move to Bentley Greens. Other than that, pretty much mainly the same. And we're underway here. Dorothy Laver, West Reserve. As Shadara goes long to Dustin. Back to Lakopoulos. Over to Shilton now. Finds Anastasopoulos. Over to Dustin. Who's deflected and ushered out by Shilton. It's a long ball over the top to Somolaski. Doesn't quite get there, but Nev Dustin manages. Get the ball at her feet. Tries to go wide to Anastasopoulos, but it's picked up by Arredondo. And back out as well. Of course, it's going to be a Spring Hills throw in. That was Jacinta Tarnart Crook there with the throw. It's going to be Jess Shilton now to take. Over to Lasky. Shouts for a handball, but it's play on, and it's going to be a free kick for Alamein. Holding was the call. Of course, Summer Lasky, a new signing for Alamein this year. From the USA, but did get signed from Wellington United over in New Zealand, and Dustin will take the free kick. She goes long. And goes all the way out for a goal kick. Arcdeacon just pushes that out as well, and it will be Estelle Burgess now to take the throw. Of course, the captain is still yet to score a senior women's goal for any side. Been ever present for Alamein the last couple of years since that ATL injury in her ankle, but of course in 2023 did miss half of that season, and 2025 and beyond, she's been ever present for this side. There's Dustin. Goes over to Shilton. There's Anastasopoulos now, who will try to find Shilton again, who's chasing. He goes inside. Finds Dustin, who calls. Nev Dustin with the opener. What a finish it was as well for the American. Cade, very early goal for Alamein. Talk me through it.
Yeah, so, I mean, as you saw there, Jess Shilton making an absolute blazing run down the left-hand side and then cutting it back to Nev Dustin, who had only a yard or two of separation between her and Bianca Liberto. And as she's hit it, I think from where we sit, it looked as though it got a touch off Liberto's foot and it's found its way into the back post. And so, you know, an early goal sets it up for a bit of a big game. So hopefully there's a few more in it.
Yes, Nev Dustin, we do know she loves to hit him. Of course. What a goal that was as well. Third for the season. Of course, the American-born did score 7 last year, and she's already got her third. So, of course, playing a Bit of a similar role from last year as well. Loves a free kick as well, Nev Dustin. But that'll be very positive for Alamein for the remainder of the game. Going up early. Spring Hills go the other way, and there's Thyssen. And it's Jasevsky there who just trips over. It will be Stel Burgess leaning over, Analakopoulos rather. Now taking the free kick. And long to Savannah Stopoulos, headed on. And Shilton's in the same spot she was last time. And it's pushed out by Isabella Redondo. And it will be another throw in. Jess Shilton to take. Goes along. Headed on. Here's Dustin again. Back to Shilton. Down to Anastasopoulos, who's offside. Looks close, but sort of triangle balls in that attacking third for Alamein. Long ball. There's Suzu. Back to Shilton again. Anastasopoulos. Down the line. Find Lasky, and she does. Back to Shilton. Over to Dustin now. We'll go backwards to a centre-back in Shadara. Long ball to Lasky. Into the arms of Jenna Ibrahim. Sixth season at the club, Jenna Ibrahim. Signed from Calder. Did spend some time at South Melbourne as well. Of course, also played today South Melbourne against Keilor Park. We'll keep you updated with all the scores around the grounds later in the game. There's Archdeacon. Back to Thyssen, and it will be another throw. Estelle Burgess to take. To Dustin. Brings down a marker, and Estelle Burgess go down the line to Jasevsky, and then backwards. And Tobin drives and doesn't get as far as Nev Dustin, who takes it all the way back. Now to Leakopoulos. Anastasopoulos now. Back to Leakopoulos. And over to Shadara. Under pressure by Alex Sinclair, and she goes long. Headed on by Labno. And Thyssen. Over to Jasevsky. Dustin watches as Leakopoulos knees it forward to Dustin again. Slot through ball through, and Anastasopoulos is one-on-one with the keeper. Jenna Ibrahim manages to get down, and that's a great ball by Nev Dustin, and Jenna Ibrahim's done really well there to get ahead of the ball. She goes long. It's a bit of a miss kick as well. It's onto Dustin's head and headed on by Liberto. And here's Shilton. It's knocked out by Tarnat Cook. It's a long throw to Anastasopoulos. A chance to cross, and she does. Go with her left foot. Across the face of goal, and it's nearly solid in back post, but Ibrahim's there to sweep it up. She will now go for the long kick. Tries to find Antonello. Goes out for another throw with Burgess. And long ball to Jasevsky. And it's gone out for a goal kick off Rosen Murphy. And there will be another goal kick with Jenna Ibrahim. Of course, Rosen Murphy did get signed from Alamein as well. Did play quite a few games last season, but also formerly of Burundara Eagles, Yarra Jets and Heidelberg. She is now, as she's conceded a foul. And once again, it'll be Nev Dustin leaning over it. Dustin with Burgess. It's a great ball by Dustin. Headed on, punched away by Ibrahim. He's Archdeacon now. Well, just stopped playing there. Did hit her hand, but didn't listen to the whistle as Iradendo's gone back the other way. There's Murphy. Headed on again by Archdeacon. And then again by Labno. And gone the other way now. And here's Burgess chasing. Very high intensity game here now, Cade. I guess talk to me about the last 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah, thanks, Ross. I think, the first 10 minutes of the game, it's been a reasonably even match, although Alamein does seem to be the team that's created the better opportunities, obviously having scored one. But one thing that seems really intriguing for me is the fluidity of the 10 and the 9 for Spring Hills between Sinclair and Murakami. It's something that can throw a little bit of a dice in there and disrupt a defensive organisation. And so I guess, we'll sit tight and see how it plays out for the rest of the game.
Here's Jasewski now. Getting brought down by Rosen Murphy and kicked out for Jenny Ibrahim. There's Ibrahim. It's onto Dustin's head. Over to Lasky. And here's Archdeacon. Oh, and it's dived in by Labno and gone back out. Just, 12 minutes on the clock here at Dorothy Laver Reserve. Of course, a very early goal by Nev Dustin in the Senol NPL Women's. Long by Shadara. Anastasopoulos is there, so is Lasky. It's cleared by Labno. Archdeacon now. Finds Lasky on the floor. And back the other way now, and he's Tobin. Shadara finds Anastasopoulos. And it's cleared again by Spring Hills. Arredondo. It's pushed out, and it will be another Alamein throw with Shilton, who can catch the defence out here. And here's Archdeacon with the header. It's cleared wide, and it is pushed down the line to Shilton's foot. And here's Shilton now again. Dustin. Can we have another long ranger? We will. Dustin. Over the bar, Nev Dustin, but could have almost been a second. Not really getting closed down there either in that middle of the park. Was up against Suzu Murakami there in the midfield. Former Bayside Argonaut. Headed on by Anastasopoulos. Over to Archdeacon. And now here's Dustin again. Dustin drives along the floor and it goes out near post. Dribbles home. Of course, absent from the Alamein squad is Zoe Houghton, Jordan Toms Wedge, Harriet Laurie and Ginger Kane. All absent from last week, and that 2-1 loss to Burundara. Of course, as well, Spring Hills did fall short against Melbourne Victory. Talisa Soto, Arifa Alayari, and Anna Rammel, all absent from that squad now. On the bench for them, it is number 3, Rachel Giles, number 16, Bella Stringfellow, number 27, Aya Kador, number 36, Chelsea De Silva, number 31, Montana Mozil, and number 39, Michaela Witt. On the bench for Alamein, it's number 70, Miranda Templeman, number 10, Emma Runnels, number 18, Matilda Laurie, and number 20, Mila Ralph. And it will be a free kick here now. It'll be Dakic to take it. Doesn't quite get a head onto it, but going back out for another throw with Estelle Burgess. Of course. Comes from quite a heavy footballing family, does Estelle Burgess as well. Of course, her older brother played national futsal. Her other older brother and her, I guess, 2 of 3 triplets also played state level football. Also a black belt and national champion in karate is Estelle Burgess. So just did play boys soccer, I guess you could say, until the age of 16 where she was a cam. Now takes the captain's armband in right back as it's pushed to Sinclair. Dustin over to Anastasopoulos. Goes down the wide and Lasky's chasing. There's Lasky. Still going. Up against Dakic and taken down, and it's going to be a free kick again for Alamein. Looks like it will probably be Nev Dustin to take it. And it's everyone back as well for Spring Hills. Nev Dustin, of course, already has a goal today from Lenore Ryan University, formerly signed by. It's a second season at the club. And she'll take the free kick here. She goes for Skull off the outside of the near post, and a bit of a training drill free kick there by Nev Dustin. See an opening on Jenna Ibrahim, who's not the tallest goalkeeper in the world, but does the job, as Suzu's knocked it on, and Shilton. Over to Anastasopoulos. Got to get around Tanat Cook, and she does. Slots it through, and she has another chance now. Over to Liberto. Shadara. Out to Lasky. Over to Shadara now again. Lined up for a shot there, but it goes back to Dustin and out to Lasky. Cross into the arms of Ibrahim. And Ibrahim again goes. Suzu. And long by Liberto. Just chased by Antonello, and Cade, Neve Dustin's very exposed in the midfield by herself. I guess talk to me about this transition play by, I guess, Alamein and what Spring Hills can do to lock her down.
Yeah, thank you, Ross. I think for me, they just have to be a little bit tighter in the middle. Spring Hills have seemed to go with a slightly more defensive-minded pair, in my eyes, with Liberto and Tobin, whereas Alamein, it's a slightly more attacking-minded pair. And so for me, I think, with Liberto and Tobin possibly being a little bit more defence-minded first, it's allowing Nev to just kind of sit in pockets and pick up the ball as she kind of wishes and get the free roam ability to pick up the ball and really dictate the game. So I wouldn't be surprised if 1 point that Spring Hills is possibly going to look at is maybe getting someone to man marker a little bit tighter.
Sinclair gone by herself, and then Tonello into the arms of Kate Bean. And yes, of course, Neve Dustin got to her name now and made very progressive passes this game so far. And that's bounced off the feet of Arredondo. And just Shilton to take the throw. Finds Anastasopoulos and goes over the top of Samalaski. And that's gone out of play again, and maybe Shilton to take again. Finds Lasky. Back to goal and knocks it on to Anastasopoulos. Backheeled to Shilton. Finds Anastasopoulos, who will send the ball across the face to find Jasewski, and doesn't quite get there, and gone the other way, of course. It's Spring Hill's now driving. And here's Murphy with a cross. And it's just gone out for another goal kick. It's 24 minutes on the clock here at Dorothy Laver West Reserve, of course. Pitch 1, the main pitch, and we're in the fairly new scaffolding here, thanks to John Kyrgios and co at Alamein, who helped to put this up. Of course, traditionally, you come to Alamein and you're used to commentating from ground level, and the camera's set to be on ground level, but this is a nice touch for the club as Nev Dustin goes very long to Anais Jasewski. Got Murphy to beat, and she does beat her. Goes around the first. Around the second and strikes, and didn't quite get anything of that as Dustin headers and is brought down, and it's going to be a free kick for her as well. Right in front of goal, and this is Nev Dustin territory. And she'll fancy herself here. And it will be Dustin to take it. Just lining up all over it. And there's a lot of people in the wall for Spring Hills. Dustin goes. And over the bar. Over the wall and just shy of the far post to Nev Dustin. And almost got his second on the day. Of course, quite a good season for her last season. Of course, 7 goals, 4-time Team of the Week. I guess admissions. As Arredondo's gone back the other way, and she's tried to find Alex Sinclair, but Shadara manages to get ahead of her. And here's Shilton now. Finds Anastasopoulos, who's offside and was very close, but Jacinta Tarnart Cooks having a little bit of trouble with Savannah Anastasopoulos on that left-hand side, but of course it's a long ball. Headed on by Lekopoulos, again by Dustin. Anastasopoulos just miskicks it as it's ushered out for a throw-in. Shilton. Dustin. There's Suzu. And it's Tobin now. Does manage to chip it forward, but it's headed on by Leakopoulos. And chased by Alex Sinclair. And pushed out as Antonello chases. Burgess, who's pushed out, and it will be a corner for Spring Hills now. And this is probably their best opportunity of the game, bar that one Alex Sinclair moment. And it will be Suzu Murakami to take it. Of course, the former Via Matsuru Murakawa player in the Nadeshiko League Division 2. And she will take it, and lots of numbers forward for Spring Hills as well. And it's sent in. It's all over everyone, and not the tallest team on paper, Spring Hills, but don't think they're going to score a header anytime soon, these lot, but managed to get a goal kick out of that Kate Bean. Of course, Kate Bean keeping Miranda Templeman out of the squad as Antonello tries to find Suzu in the middle and goes backwards to Jasevsky, and again over to Liberto, who's very attacking right now. Down the line, Antonello again, and off the face of Sinclair, and it's going to be another throw in. Burgess. Dustin. Over to Burgess again, who tries to find Archdeacon, and Dustin. Over to Leakopoulos. Anastasopoulos. Still Anastasopoulos. Goes wide to Archdeacon, who's cleaned up by Murphy, the former Alamein player herself, as Burgess goes into the middle of the park, and that's a dangerous ball, but Bean deals with it nicely as Murphy again pushes the ball out. It's her throw as well. Sinclair chasing. Held off by Shadara and pushed out the gold medalist. Of course, it's her 28th season of senior women's football. Is Alex Sinclair, 38 years of age. Of course, the oldest person to date to win the gold medal. The NPL women's gold medal, of course, alongside Daniela from, of course, Melbourne City now, who's playing today in their semi-final fixture against Melbourne Victory, as Alex Sinclair lines up to take the free kick. And it's a long and short, but cleared by Shadara. And then pushed out for another throw. Just under half an hour on the clock here as well, and not many opportunities for Spring Hills to get back into the game, and Alamein, of course, have been all over the opportunity. Of course, and with that result at Avondale as well, it's all the more opportunity for Alamein to get a result out of this game, as Samalaski chases the ball to Jenna Ibrahim to take herself. Of course, as things stand, Alamein will be in 6th place. Equal points with Bulleen Lions, who played today. Of course, they do take on Burundara Eagles at 5:45. Also around the grounds as well, Melbourne City is taking on Heidelberg Warriors. We'll get you a result for that. It's 1-0 to the Burgers over there, as Nev Dustin manages to find Rosen Murphy, and on the wrong team and goes backwards to Burgess, who's chipped by Alex Sinclair and Antonello now. He's pushed off the ball by Burgess again and Leakopoulos now. Of course, South Melbourne and Keilor Park are 0-0 as well over in Keilor. And for the men's, Avondale lead Caroline Springs George Cross 1-0. Dandenong Thunder drawing with Preston Lions, and as well in the women's, Essendon Royals are beating Preston Lions. Also in the men's, Hume City's up 2-0 against Heidelberg, which of course, based off yesterday's result at Lakeside Stadium, South Melbourne remain atop the NPL Victoria leaderboard, but it's a very rough couple of games for them in the lead up. But here's a Spring Hills now, who's just affected by Leakopoulos and pushed out of play by Tobin. And Shilton with the throw. Headed on by Tarnart Crook. And back out for Shilton throw, who tries to find Priya Archdeacon and gets pushed into the middle to Labno. Dustin knocks it on. Thyssen, and here's Burgess now. Back to Shadara. Here's Thyssen. Of course, did spend a year in America, did Thyssen. Over at Southern New Hampshire University. As well as Santa Barbara City College. There's Somalaski now, though. He's brought down, but it's going to be a Spring Hills free kick with Nat Dakic. And Somalaski's a bit frustrated, I think, with the physical attributes of this game so far, but Nat Dakic will take a free kick. With everyone up again for Spring Hills. And Dakic sends it in. Oh, it's headed on, but only as far as Labno, who manages to get Jess Hilton to push it out for a corner. Very physical game, Cade.
Yeah, it has been so far. I mean, we're 32 minutes into the contest. It's been a reasonably, for the last probably 10 minutes, the game's opened up a bit more. It's been a reasonably end-to-end. However, I think for Spring Hills, the main thing they've got to try and do is try and get Alex Sinclair a little bit more influence on the game. For the first 30 minutes of the game, she's been held reasonably quiet, except for the one real opportunity. And so I think for them, they need to try and figure out a way that they can get her to influence the game a bit more, and then also stem the influence that Nev Dustin has managed to have so far. I mean, as we said before, we've played 30 minutes, and she's probably been the one that's caused a lot of the problems for Spring Hills. She seems to be able to find the ball in a lot of pockets and really dictate the game from the middle of the park for Alamein. So I think for them, yes, it's been a physical contest and it's been reasonably 50-50 in that sense, but if you're Spring Hills, the two things you need to do are, one, stem the way that Nev Dustin has been playing in this half, but then two as well, making sure that you're trying to get, as you said, the reigning gold medalist in Alex Sinclair more influence in the game, because she's been held very quiet in that first 30 minutes.
Of course, Spring Hills did lose Maya Markovsky in the window. Of course, end of season window did sign with Bulleen Lions, and when you've got a goal scorer like Maya Markovsky leading the line, it's a bit easier to win football matches, but Spring Hills, I think, traditionally have struggled to score goals, at least this season, without the likes of her, and she hasn't really been replaced. How can you replace a player like Maya Markovsky in the Golden Boot winner? But, of course, scoring for fun at Bulleen Lions now, who's doing quite well this season as well, but it will be now Murphy take the throw. Goes beyond Suzu, and here's Sinclair. Striked along the floor by Tobin, who finds Shilton. And here's Jasevsky, who's swapped wings. Archdeacon. And it's pushed out by Tarnart Crook. And Jasevsky swaps sides with Savannah Anastasopoulos, who's having pretty much her best season as well in Alamein colours. Her fourth season at the club, Savannah Anastasopoulos. And she does have 3 goals to her name, equaling that of last year. Of course, if I want to see one thing out of this game, it's an Estelle Burgess goal. I know how much it'll mean to her, but the captain, of course. Here's Shilton again. Finds Lasky, who's got a body in front of the ball, and Shilton again. He's chased by Dustin. And it will be another goal kick. Of course, it's interesting to see Summer Lasky, who's, I guess, in turn replaced Paige Clemenson, who made her way over to Bentley Greens, who's not having a great season in their own respect, to be honest, but of course they had a few outgoings, Bentley Greens. They still sit on 0 points at the bottom of the NPL women's table. It's headed on by Tobon, and here's Dustin, who finds Savannah Anastasopoulos, who manages to get it back over to Dustin. Here's Burgess, over to Shadara, then Leakopoulos. Shilton. Arredondo tries to cut around to defender in Shilton. Jasevsky keeps the ball in. And Shilton is Lasky. Now Jasevsky, who sends the ball long and tries to find Savannah Anastasopoulos, and the ball's gone straight back out for another throw. Shilton. There's Shilton again, headed. Over to Dustin, headed on. Again, cleared by Dakic. He's very verbal with a, I guess, partner in Lasky. Is Burgess chasing. Doesn't quite get there, and gone out for another throw. And it will be Rosen Murphy, former Alamein player herself. Headed on, and here's Liberto chasing. Jasevsky. Suzu. Manages to go long and find Sinclair, who's still got the pace. And manages to go herself, and it's cleared by Lakopoulos, but she's still got it. And backwards to Antonello. And pushed out once again. Because Antonello also signs from Bayside Argonauts. It's gone 9 in 16 over there in the VPL. Of course, also not having the greatest season. They've kind of been rated that of Suzu Murakami as well, who did don the navy blue of the Argonauts. And here's Priya Archdeacon, who's driving and got Dakic in front of her, is brought down. She manages to get the second ball, but it's gone out for a throw this time. ball's just gone into the lake, but another ball, and it's Burgess who sends it on to Liberto, who again goes long. Oh, and Somalaski's been brought down again, and another free kick for Alamein. It will probably be Nev Dustin to take it once again, and 40 minutes on the clock here at Dorothy Laver West Reserve. Of course, it's been great to see how far the facilities have come in the few years of Alamein's existence, but they've really made it their own, considering it is a dog park, but managed to get a hold of that, and Neve Dustin now will take it. There's Nev, who heads it on. It's headed on by Savannah Anastassopoulos and out. She did have Jess Shilton behind her, but has been headed out. And Jenna Ibrahim, of course, again, the 25-year-old, will knock it back out. Antonello. Dustin. Back to Archdeacon, who's being brought down by Liberto. And his Lasky will strike to the arms of Ibrahim. It's Somalaski's first real shot of the game as well, the number 9. But finds Tobin. Shilton headed. Back to Liberto. Over to Thyssen and Shilton. To Dustin, who goes to Jasevsky, who will strike herself and go over the bar. And it's that long ball by Nev Dustin has proved dangerous once again. Will be another goal kick, and she's had a lot of work to do today. Jenna Ibrahim. And she goes long. Headed on by Nev again. Back out for another throw this time. Spring Hills with Rosen Murphy. Sent on to Sinclair's head. It's headed on by Burgess. Back on to Murphy. Antonello is brought down, and it'll be Murphy's throw once again. Headed on by Antonello and back out by Suzu, and Boo just manages to kick it on field to Liberto's head. There's Dustin. Suzu. Over to Tarnart Crook. Headed on by Burgess. Again by Jasevsky, and a head injury, and there is a player on the floor now. Alex Sinclair. And you wouldn't want to lose a player like Alex Sinclair in this sort of game for Spring Hills, and of course we know the impact she can make. She's up. But Cade going into the half, what does Tom Markovsky say to his players to get them back in it?
Yeah, thanks, Ross. I mean, I think I've said it already. For me, Nev Dustin has been the main reason that Alamein's been what feels so dominant in this game. She's able to find pockets in space majority of the time, because of the fact that it seems as though Spring Hills are playing somewhat more of a 4-2-3-1, where it's two out-and-out sixes with Liberto and Tobin, whereas Alamein's more playing a 4-3-3, where Nev's occupying more that box-to-box role. So she's getting back, But then at the same time, as Alamein are going forward, she's able to find the time and the space in pockets to get the ball and dictate the game. So I think for me, that's probably the biggest one. They are playing reasonably physically. As a team, they probably just have to be a little bit hungrier at the 50-50s and second balls. But overall, I think, the main point that I wouldn't be surprised if he's mentioning is how they're going to, pocket Nev Dustin in that second half, or how they're at least going to try and stem the flow of the impact that she's had. Because everything that Alamein's done today, where it seems to be that they're going forward and they're looking to, hit Spring Hills in behind, and the majority of the chances that they've created have all come from the boot of Nev, whether it's balls through for Anastasopoulos or Archdeacon making runs in behind, or Anais making runs in behind as well. It's all coming from the boot of Nev Dustin. So I think for me, she's the one that's the linchpin at the moment, and they've got to try and figure out a way that they can stop her influence on the game in the second half.
That's exactly right. Of course, we just saw her take that free kick as well, and it didn't quite amount to anything, but still an Alamein attacking distribution here now for just Shilton to take a throw, and it will be a long throw by the looks of it as everyone's crowded into the box. Punched away by Ibrahim, and it hasn't been quite dealt with. It will be a corner now, and once again, Dustin to take it, and there's not long left either in this half. There is no fourth officials board, but we'll come to you with, I guess, when the game is done. But for now, Dustin with the corner for Alamein. It's knocked on by Leakopoulos, and then by Archdeacon, and Ibrahim manages to get down. And that is the half here at Dorothy Laver West Reserve. It's 1-0 to the home side through Nev Dustin. Wonder goal, we could say. Been Ross Papadakis, been Cade Wright. We'll be back in 15 minutes for some more NPL women's action at Dorothy Laver Reserve. back for the second half here at Dorothy Labour West Reserve. It's 1-0 to the home side Alamein by way of a Nev Dustin goal very early into the game. Of course, Alamein in their navy blue. Spring Hills in the pink, kicking to the left of the screen. Bit of an uninspiring first half for Spring Hills as Labno goes very long, very quickly as Shadara manages to find Leokopolis and finds Anastasopoulos, and then Lasky is dispossessed by Liberto. And Anastasopoulos finds herself on the floor and tripping over Liberto as it goes out for a throw. Headed on by Jess Shilton again, and it's another throw for the Spring Hills. And it's gone on by Tarnat Crook. And there's Dustin. Over to Dustin again, headed on to Anastasopoulos. Does get taken down by Liberto. Tries to find Sinclair, and it's again pushed out for another throw. Will be another throw this time, headed in to Alex Sinclair, who's taken down, and another throw with Tarnat Crook. And a throw to Sinclair. Back to Tarnat Crook. Head on by Murphy, and now on by Liberto, who's just shoved to the side by Burgess and taken on for another throw. And it will be Spring Hills. Looking at Antonello's over the ball. Antonello heads on and pushed in by Murphy, and it will be now a corner for Spring Hills. Suzu Murakami to take it, and we did mention the fact that there was not much height in this Spring Hills side, and they haven't committed as many numbers forward as last time, but it's sent in, and it's pushed on by Dustin and out. Headed on by Lasky. Up against Tarnat Crook, and Burgess knocks it backwards to Tobin. And then Long. Finds Redondo, but pushes it back out for another throw, and it's Shilton who goes long and tries to find Anastasopoulos. Again, another throw for Shilton. Of course, on the bench for Alamein is Miranda Templeman, Emma Runnels, Matilda Laurie, Smila Ralph, Satara Kashimi, and Amelia Fode. And for Spring Hills, it's Rachel Gillies, Bella Stringfellow, Aya Kador, Chelsea De Silva, Montara Mashil, and Michaela Watt. Of course, Aya Kador on the bench has got 5 goals this season. It's knocked on by Shilton, headed on again by Dakic. And pushed on by Aubrey Labno. And that's Thisen there, who just gets possessed by Suzo. And Suzu goes long to Antonella, who will try strike, and she just manages to trip over the ball a little bit, and Boo just gets the better of her, and it will be a keeper kick with Bean. There's Thisen, who's brought down, and yellow card it is for Liberto, and Dakota Thisen there with the foul against her, as Chinatsu Shidara will take it. Liliakopoulos. It's Thisen. Goes to Shilton. Manages to find Anastasopoulos, who's offside, but looks close. Cade, not really the, I guess, opening minutes of the half that we were hoping for Spring Hills.
I mean, for me personally, I think Spring Hills definitely has started the half the better of the two teams. I think the main thing for them is they've just got to try and create chances and take them when they get them. If you think about that first half, it was a reasonably one-sided game. Alamein created 10 opportunities. Spring Hills only created 1. And so you sit here and I look at the first 5 minutes and I go, Spring Hills, they've definitely come out the better of the two teams with a bit more of a foothold in the game to start the second half. But there's signs of improvement. And there's signs of them possibly getting an opportunity to get back in the game here. So the only real thing for me is, yes, they've created chances, but they just need to be able to take them when they get them. Because at the moment, the very few that they've created, they just haven't been able to take them.
Of course, was a yellow card for Bianca Liberto as well, who's sitting, I guess, in that central defensive midfielder role a little bit. And it's going to be a long throw by Shilton to find Lasky, who goes all the way on to Dakic. Probably been one of the shining lights for this Spring Hill side so far in this game. Dakic manages to find Tobin. And through to Leakopoulos, who tries to find Dustin, and it goes out for a throw, and it will be hers. And Anastasopoulos tries to go long to Lasky, and again Dakic possesses Tobon, and Tarnart Crook, and out for another throw. Tarnart Crook to take. And long, headed on by Shilton. And it's another free kick for Alamein this time, and Tom Markovsky was not happy with that call, but looks like it's going to be Leakopoulos to take that one as well. A referee in her own right as well. Of course, one player of the tournament in that under-16s emerging Matildas over at the home of the Matildas. Of course, did sign mid-season last year from Bentley Greens. Zark Deacon over to Burgess. Burgess with the strike, headed on by Lasky, and it's cleared away by Dakic. Of course, Leakopoulos did, I guess, depart a sinking ship halfway through that season when Bentley Greens weren't really performing to the heights we know that at least men teams can, but there's Leakopoulos now who finds Lasky, who crosses the ball in over the bar and out. Was a bit utilised in a bit of a midfielder role as well in that Bentley Green side, and shifted to centre back here at Alamein. And there's Ibrahim now, though. Long by Ibrahim. Dustin. Anastopoulos. Tobon. And then another throw. Just Shilton, who's got a lot of the ball from these throw-ins. Of course, the former Three Kings United player. Is Liberto with a yellow on her name so far. Gets it to Jasevsky. Over to Dustin, who will strike it along the floor, and it's deflected off Aubrey Labneau into the arms of Ibrahim. And on Antonello headed. Headed again by Thyssen and off Archdeacon. Here's Sinclair now. Dustin over to Thyssen and back to Tobin, who will find Arredondo. Arredondo out wide. Chance to cross. She does, and it's pushed out for a corner by Analiakopoulos, and very positive football by the Spring Hills, and they've got another corner to their name now. It will be Rosen Murphy. Rosen Murphy to take it. There's lots of numbers in the box as she heads it on and into the arms of Bean. And she will go quickly, and she tries to find Archdeacon, and she does. And she's got Dakic in front of her. Still Archdeacon. It's around Dakic and manages to slot it to her centre back. Dakic over to Antonello. Thyssen chasing. Oh, and it's pushed out by Dakota Thyssen. That's Antonello who finds Burgess. And then Asasevsky's through now. One-on-one with the keeper. She will cross. She won't, and she will. And Anastasopoulos almost makes it 2-0 to Alamein. And that was all from nothing. And Spring Hills have been on top a lot this game. And it's moments like that will get Alamein ahead. And it was a great ball over the top by Estelle Burgess as well. All the work was done by Anais Jasevsky. We find Lasky. Again Lasky. Finds Tobin and knocked off the ball as Dustin. Archdeacon, who's chasing, and it pushed out by Tarnart Crook. And still got it in the corner flag. Pushed back out as well, and now it's another throw for Shilton. Onwards to Lasky. A bit of a sideways pass to the feet of Archdeacon as she goes herself and finds Burgess. It's pushed on by the fullback, and then Antonello as still Burgess is on the floor. I think it was a bit of a late collision as the medics come on to Estelle Burgess, who's been ever present the last 2 years for this Alamein side. Just missed 2 games over the 2 years due to a concussion, but I guess, potentially looking to the bench. Alamein to replace Senol Burgess, who has a head injury of some sort. Looking at the bench for both sides, Cade, what do we think changes-wise for, I guess, Spring Hills and for Alamein?
Yeah, I mean, for me, when you look at the Spring Hills bench, you've got a couple of young players on there that can come on and can possibly make a difference. But at the same time, if you look to go that way, they're also a bit inexperienced. Whereas you look at the Alamein bench, and yeah, all right, there's a few 20s girls on there as well, but they do still have a lot of experience on there in players such as Emma Runnels, who can come on, provide a little bit of a different dynamic going forward, be a little bit more of a target man as opposed to looking to have someone running behind like Summer Lasky at the moment. But the main question for me is going to be what coach decides to blink first, who decides to go away from the way that they're playing so far and change things in search of either a second goal for Alamein or that first goal that Spring Hills is hunting. I mean, we saw just before that, Alamein created one chance in the half and they very, very nearly go 2-0 up. And all of a sudden, if that goes in, it becomes a mountain. And so I'd love to just see what was going on inside Tom Markovsky's head at the moment, trying to figure out what changes he's going to make, who he thinks on his bench can provide the impact, when they're going to possibly move from looking to play into feet to them playing, more direct, more route one, looking to get people in behind, looking to really try and create opportunities and really create a struggle at the back for John Kyrgios's Alamein back four. So, yeah, I think, in the next 5-10 minutes for me, we're probably going to see the first blink from either coach and the first change come.
And of course, Senol Burgess just re-enters the field and all okay as Analiakopoulos manages to get in front of Alex Sinclair, and it's going to be a Spring Hills throw. Of course, on the bench, as mentioned, Emma Runnels, Matilda Laurie, Miller Ralph, Satara Kashimi, and Amelia Fade. Spring Hills as well, a little bit more experience with Rachel Gillies, Bella Stringfellow, Aya Kador, and Chelsea De Silva. Of course, Bella Stringfellow, the oldest of the lot, at 23. Emma Runnels, the 31-year-old, sits on the bench for these guys. Has 2 goals to her name this season. Archdeacon goes to Liberto. Finds Sinclair. And it's a strike by Suzu. Goes over the bar. There will be another goal kick for Kate Bean. Shadara. Long ball to try find Archdeacon and Dustin chasing. Is Murphy. Former Alamein player now driving. Burgess tries to get around her and manages to get the cross off. Oh, pushed off by Leokopoulos there. A bit of a miscommunication as Sinclair's turned around. Here's Tobin. Over the bar and wide. And there will be a change coming on. Looks like a triple change coming on. Coming off is number 28. Number 10, Suzu Murakami. Coming on is Aya Kador. coming off. Number 9, Lauren Antonello, replaced by Chelsea De Silva. And Ayakador comes on as well. I think it's Chelsea De Silva also coming on. There's Liberto. There's Liberto still, who's dispossessed by Jasevsky, and Archdeacon goes along. Yes, Ayakador, of course, the 18-year-old, 5 goals this season to a name. Here's Murphy. Finds Chelsea De Silva, another substitute. Finds Jasevsky, who cuts inside. It's around the second and doesn't manage to get around the third as it's pushed beyond. Going backwards, and here's Dustin. Go back to Shadara, and it's a bit of miscommunication as Dustin retrieves the ball back and finds Lasky. Back to Theisen. Out wide to Shilton, who's over at the top of her head, and two changes. It was. Of course, number 9 and number 10, Lauren Antonello and Suzu Murakami coming off. Two 18-year-olds take their place, Ayakador and Chelsea De Silva. Chelsea De Silva also 1 goal to a name this season, so a little bit more goals coming on the pitch, and it will be another throw. Looks like Bella Stringfellow's also made her way onto the pitch. For Isabella Arredondo. Of course, second season at the club for Bella Stringfellow. Did join from Box Hill. Started her career at South Melbourne and at Essendon Royals. Also represented Victoria at Youth National Championships over in Coffs Harbour. And back to Leakopoulos. To Anastasopoulos now. Got Tonart Crook in front of her. Goes back. Theisen. He's pushed out another throw for Spring Hills now, and looks like another change getting ready for Spring Hills. Not quite yet, but looks like it's just a couple left as well on the bench, so yeah, and coming on is number 3, Rachel Gillies. Coming off was Bianca Liberto. Originally from NPL Western Australia, of course, under 19's All-Australian squad. Joined from Preston Lions. And that's 4 changes for Spring Hills before Alamein make one. Here's Kador chasing, and knocked on by Shilton. So Jasevsky. And long to Archdeacon. Still Archdeacon, who will have a chance to cross now. Pushed out for a throw, and Burgess will take. And there will be another substitute coming on, is in fact Emma Runnels, replacing Savannah Anastasopoulos. Of course, 2 goals to a name this season, Emma Runnels. Did score 5 last year, but beyond that, I guess, netted 60 goals in the NPLW, including her career at Sandringham and Bayside United. As Burgess chose for the cross, and it's knocked on. Cade, you were mentioning Emma Runnels in the lead up to the changes being made. Talk to me about her impact.
Yeah, with the introduction of Emma Runnels, it's going to provide a little bit of a different dynamic going forward for Alamein. You know, if you think about what they started with the game with Savannah Anastopoulos, with Summer Lasky, and then with Anais Javeski as the 3 players up front. You know, one thing that all 3 players have in common, and the way that all 3 of them like to play, is making those runs in behind, looking for those balls being played out in front of them for them to run onto. Whereas Emma Runnels, being the experienced player that she is, and being more that prototypical target man that likes the ball more to her feet, is able to hold it up against a bit more of a physical centre-back in Natasha Dakic. It's just going to provide that little bit of a different dynamic. You're probably going to see that Summer and Anais are going to be playing off her a little bit more, and it's going to also open up the ability for Priya Archdeacon, their number 19, to run off her as well. And so I think it's possibly going to open it up a little bit more for Alamein, because Emma coming in is going to be able to pin one of those centre-backs and then be able to lay that ball off in behind for the speed to then go into the space and hopefully go one-on-one with Jenna Ibrahim and cause some trouble to that Spring Hills backline.
Time for a free kick now, though, as Alex Sinclair stands over her, and we've got some height on the pitch now with a couple of the changes that were made. And Giles has crossed in, and it is Emma Runnels who gets on the head of it, but goes the other way, of course, as Murphy goes backwards to Tarnat Cook, as Archdeacon tries to chase, and back to Gillies as Archdeacon chases, and Burgess now, who will send it all the way back to Bean. Bit of a missed kick, but manages to get her foot to it before it goes out, as Shadara is now has pushed on to Burgess. And there will be an Alamein free kick. I thought it was the other way. I thought Estelle Burgess was the one to handball it, but it will be a throw in. Onto Dustin's head. Onto her foot now. He goes back, and he's Runnels with a back to goal. Up to Archdeacon. And Lusky's by herself as Tarnat Crook gets in front of her. Off Archdeacon. Dakic. Long by Dakic and into the dugouts. As Shilton will now take a throw in. Still 1-0 here at Dorothy Leva Reserve in the Senol NPL Women's round 11. It's Gillas as Shilton throws it on to Emma Runnels and goes out for another throw. There's Runnels again with it back to goal, pushed off by Nat Dakic, and goes onwards, headed by Shilton. Here's Lasky. Backwards by Lasky, and will be another throw this time. Shilton again will take. It's a big throw into the middle of the park, and Emma Runnels was there, but Jenna Ibrahim gets her hands to it, and will be a big kick on as he tries to find Alex Sinclair, who gets her feet down and out for a throw. And there will be a change coming on again. Coming off is Dakota Theisen, and coming on will be Matilda Laurie. Of course, Matilda Laurie, former Bulleen Lion and FV Academy player. Is also yet to score a goal, and her twin sister as well is also not in the squad today, but Harriet Laurie. It's 2 changes for Alamein in 2 windows, so yet to make some more as the couple of chases the ball out and sends it over to Kate Bean's way. There's Leokopoulos to take the goal kick. And Long. Attempt to find Runnels' head, but it goes beyond her. As headed on by Dakic backwards, and again by Dakic, and tries to find Laurie. And Summerlaski could be through here. She's offside, of course, is the call. I don't know about it. It was very close. But she's brought down after it as well. I think she was very close to being onside. I thought she started behind her man, but it will be Labno. I think she's made her run late, but it will be Nev Dustin now, who will slide it through to Jasevsky, who's tripped. And it will be another free kick for Alamein. Tripped by Aubrey Labno. And once again, it is Nev Dustin territory. Of course, the last one from a similar region did go over the bar, but this time it's a little bit further out. I think she's just been given the all clear to have a shot as she lines up for it. Here's Dustin along the floor. Has to trick the wall there a little bit, but it's going to be a Jen Abraham goal kick now. Of course, Spring Hills can still make one extra change. They do have Montana Mosley and Michaela Watt on the bench. Alamein, of course, have Mila Ralph and Shatara Kashimi. They've got an opportunity to make 3 more as well. There's Laurie. Knocked on by Sinclair. Goes all the way to Analia Kopoulos, who pushes that out for another throw. And Spring Hills are still in this one. Of course, it's just the 1-0 Nev Dustin early goal that separates the two sides. As Summerlaski scans and tries to find people around her, but Stringfellow, who goes backwards, and now here's Lasky. Finds Runnels and goes backwards to Dustin, who goes backwards to Shadara, who goes long. And Lasky chasing as well as Runnels. Labno will push the ball out of play. And a goal kick. And just 10 minutes to play as well in this clash. Tom Markovsky at a loss of, I guess, what to do here. They've been predominantly the better side this half. As Ibrahim lines up to take a long kick to Murphy. Back to Gillies. There's Kador. Back up to Burgess, who's tripped, and be another free kick now. Leocopolis to take. Leocopolis with the long ball. Headed on by Runnels and out. 10 minutes left to go, and there's a change getting ready for Spring Hills, but will be a change. Coming on is Michaela Watt, replacing Crook. Okay, you'll tell me a bit of a story about Michaela, I think, before the game started. What can you tell me about her?
Yeah, Michaela Witt came through originally at Geelong. She came and then moved last year to Calder United. This year she obviously has found her way to Spring Hills and has been playing for their 20s team. However, she is actually only 15 or 16. She represented Victoria in the under-16s at the Young Matildas only a couple of weeks ago. And so for a young player like her, it'd be pretty surreal, and there's probably a few nerves going on in her head. You know, getting her first senior minutes, not really knowing what to expect from the game. And so it'll be a little bit interesting to see how a young player such as herself seems to cope with the pressure that there is in these last 8 or so minutes of the game. You know, Spring Hill's chasing that goal. Someone who's a bit more attack-minded has come on the park. Spring Hill's possibly are looking to go maybe a little bit more direct. They're throwing an extra number forward, and they're chasing a result. And so, yeah, surely there's going to be a bit of nerves there, but I guess we'll see how her senior debut ends up panning out for her.
Of course, Michaela Witt, number 39 for the Spring Hills. And will be a throw-in now. Still just under 10 minutes to go here. As Alex Sinclair as well. Of course. The oldest player on the park today linking up with the youngest player on the park today in Michaela Witt and Alex Sinclair. Just 22 years separate the two. Leocopolis now, though. Here's Dakic. Does find Tobin and look at the Giles. Tripped on the floor, but it will be play on, and here's Kador. He does find De Silva, who's knocked out by Burgess. Still Burgess. Knocks the ball on, and here's Summerlasky with a chance, and just gets beyond her, and she's got Runnels behind her. Here's Runnels. Archdeacon is pushed out by De Silva. Archdeacon. Back over to Laurie. And here's Dustin now. Sinclair. Here's Burgess. We'll push it down to Jasevsky. Across to Archdeacon, who will strike. Archdeacon deflected and off the post. As it's pushed out. And that was almost 2-0 for Alamein as we go back the other way as Shilton now. Is Runnels over to Shilton, who's driving. Here's Burgess now up against Murphy. And here's Archdeacon. Tries to find Runnels' feet and goes all the way back to Dakic. And then De Silva pushes the ball out. Here's Jasevsky passing the ball over back to Burgess. Thrown to Runnels. Knocked on by Labno, and it will be a corner now for Alamein. They haven't needed many chances this game to capitalise, but it will be a Nev Dustin corner kick. There's Dustin with the corner. Sent in. Over the top of Runnels and then slipped by Ibrahim, and still a chance. It will be a free kick for Spring Hills as the player's brought down. Ibrahim to take again. Players still on the floor. Of course, elsewhere, Essendon Royals are drawing with Preston Lions. And Keilor Park are drawing against South Melbourne. Melbourne City. It's a bit loud, but Heidelberg United are winning 9-3 against Melbourne City. Away from home, of course, in Casey Fields. And we have one last change coming on for Alamein. Just 2 minutes to go. Coming off is Somalaski, and coming on is Amelia Fode. He will come on in a bit of a defensive role just to hold the lead for Alamein. Tobin knocks it on and tries to find Runnels, and it goes back out for another throw in, and Stringfellow just knocks it back out. Shelton. It's knocked on by Labno. And out again by De Silva. And once again, it will be another throw. Taken quickly. Back the other way to Laurie, and a throw for Shilton. Knocked on by Dakic, and not long left in this game here at Dorothy Laver Reserve. Also just heard the other results, and things have gone Alamein's way to progress up the table a little bit. Just a little bit. Of course, Bulleen Lions played Boroondara Eagles later today. Headed on by Tobin. Knocked on by Laurie. Crossed in, but cleared again by Dakic. And there will be a minimum of 3 minutes added on into this clash. All changes have been made. Oh, there's one possible change could be made for Spring Hills, but and it will be just 3 minutes on the clock for Spring Hills to salvage something out of this game, or Alamein to secure the lead. And here's Dustin. Pushed on, and Tobin. Sent long again, but cleared for another throw. Another throw once again. It's a long throw sent down the line. It's Alex Sinclair, who's not had her best day today, but Tobin now on the ball. Still Tobin. Back to Cador. Still Cador as we push onwards and out for just Shilton to slow the game down with a throw in. That's again knocked in, and Spring Hills have a chance here to progress. They're pushed on, and Sinclair knocks it onwards. Cleared again by Leokopoulos. Here's Tobin. Headed on, and Shilton's on the floor, but back up off Wits. And then Archdeacon. Jasevsky and Archdeacon, and then back out for another throw, and be progressing onwards. Spring Hills won't want any time wasted here, but there's a chance to get in back into this as Shilton knocks it onwards. Another throw in. With Stringfellow. Again headed on. Murphy knocked on again, and Runnels chasing, and it's pushed back out. Spring Hills throw again. It's not over. And that's full time here at Dorothy Laver Reserve. It's 1-0 to the home side. Alamein by way of a Nev Dustin goal very early into this game. Spring Hills the better side in the second half. But Cade, what did you think of the game?
Yeah, I think to some degree it was a bit of a game of two tales. You had the first half where Alamein was really dominant, especially Nev Dustin in the middle of the park. The second half, like we spoke about, I said Spring Hills really needed to curb her influence on the game. And, you know, you sit there and you watch the second half and it seemed as though they did. They were a little bit unfortunate not to really, however, create an awful lot of opportunities and quality opportunities where they could seriously look at taking them and, you know, get themselves back into the game. So I think outside of that real first opportunity that Alamein had, the game was a reasonably quiet one for quality opportunities. You had a couple in the second half, more from Alamein's view, but as opposed to Spring Hills' view, there wasn't an awful lot of quality opportunities that they really created. And so I think for them, that's probably the one area where they got caught out today. And so, yeah, for me, after that early goal from Nev, there's no real surprise in the result.
Well, I've been Ross Papadakis. He's been Cade Wright. This has been round 11 of the Senol NPL Victoria Women's. We'll be back for some more NPL action later today, as well as next week.